Hi YouTube. Today I set up a little gallery show in my recording studio for you, and I'll show you and I'll explain. So I have some of the art and then some didactics that I wrote. Some of these are didactics that I wrote for myself, and then these last two that will be read are didactics for other people. One of them is a pretty famous contemporary artist, Kathleen Gillier. So this is my exhibition, title pending, and this is Steven, and he's going to be reading the didactics to you guys, my loyal subscribers. So take it away, Steven.
Yeah, so, hi, I'm Steven Seagal, and I'm gonna read some of Frank's didactics. So, we're gonna start over here with this one. This one's called At Least He's Hydrated 2022. 9 by 12 inches, oil on paper. And this is what it looks like. Recently, Hedzima has been continuing with work that is humorous to those in the know, this being in reference to the abject humor that is prevalent online. At least he's hydrated was his way of experimenting with moving away from the figure. Here, the subject references the presence of the figure in the form of water bottles filled with urine. The way in which the bottles break the edge of the painting leads the viewer to believe that there is an indeterminate amount of them beyond what can be seen. Delicately painted condensation can be seen in the frontmost bottle, implying that it was recently used. Every other bottle is lacking this trait, which leads one to believe that they have been sitting around for a while.
Oh, good job, Steven.
Thanks. We're gonna move on to the next one. This one's called Selfie. 2022 again. 14 by 11 inches, oil on paper mounted on panel. So this one says, Selfie is one of the works that Hedzima made for Cannes Triennial in 2022. This was his foray into simulating digital compression with oil paint, as evident in the flat, blocky brushstrokes that makes up this painting. Hedzima had been playing with this concept of digital screens being translated into paint for a while at this point, but this is arguably his most direct reference to them up until this point. His attempt to replicate pixels creates a bizarre, blurry atmosphere that feels almost crunchy.
Great job again, Steven.
Thanks. So next, we have this little painting titled Struggle Meal. It's also from 2022, and it's 3.5 by 5 inches. It's oil on paper. And the didactics for it say, Struggle Meal was where Hedzima made leaps and bounds in terms of materiality. The entire surface of this painting is incredibly matte and full of texture. This is due to the artist's use of cold wax medium throughout the entire piece. There's the depiction of the paper plate in particular is something unlike anything he has painted prior, as there is an incredible sense of luminosity that beautifully replicates the lighting conditions of styrofoam in a flash photo. In addition, the thickness of the paint further implies that the plate is in fact closer to the viewer than the rest of the piece, which is drowned out in a haze. Next.
Hold on, Steven. You guys might recognize this one from the Tub Girl album. Yeah, Okay, go ahead, Steven.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah, Tub Girl. 2021, 17 by 11 inches, oil on canvas. Uh, Here, Hadzima has depicted a shocking image with such beauty and care that it begs the viewer to come closer. Hadzima painted this display of confrontational shamelessness during a time where he was taking heavy influence from internet shock content. Tub Girl is a snapshot from a bygone era of internet painting, or internet culture, where content like what is depicted here was spread around like trading cards. For those not in on it, they were usually treated as the butt of the joke, where they'd be told to search a particular phrase, only to be met with a horrible image. Hedzima is paying homage to this brief period of time by painting these shocking images. The goal of these paintings is to catch the viewer off guard until they become mesmerized by the technique in which they're painted. And then next we have here...
Hey guys, sorry about the interruption. My phone died, but Steven's gonna keep reading for you. Ready, Steven?
Yeah.
Okay.
This piece is titled Kitten. I couldn't help but notice that you missed our scheduled Discord call yesterday. It's from 2022. It's 20 by 20 inches and it's oil on paper. Hadzima painted this piece as he was beginning his explorations of internet referential works beyond those of shock. He shows a shirtless man in the throes of arousal while a blue light glares against his glasses. The gaze of this man is in reference to a video call, Discord. He is not looking at the viewer directly, rather just beyond them, much like when someone is staring at their computer screen while on a video call. The blue light reflecting in his glasses further emphasizes this implication of the persistent possessiveness that this figure holds for his, quote, kitten, are evident in the title, leading the viewer to assume that he is acting predatory.
That was great, Steven.
Thanks, man. So,
Do you want me to introduce it, or do you want to?
you can.
Okay, so this, I wrote this one for this piece by, focus, this piece by this is for this piece by Kathleen Gillier, and I did this in collaboration with the Progressive Art Collection, where I made art, and I did a lot of research about her and responded to her stuff. Alright, take it away, Steven.
Okay. So, this is the first didactic that Frank wrote for someone else's art. Kathleen Gillier, Madame Louis-François Bertin, Le Genevieve Ami Victorie Bouvard, restored, and Guillaume Leterre, restored. 2000. 17 inches by 13 inches each. It's in two parts. It's a lithograph. In this work, we are met with two figures, one masculine presenting and the other feminine presenting. Both are posed in such a way that connotes positions of power. Upon closer inspection, one will notice that Madame Louis-François Bertin, left, bears a mustache, and Guillaume Leterre, right, is sporting lipstick and eyeliner. This suggests that their faces may have been swapped or their gender roles have been reversed in some way. It is not until one realizes that they are actually painstakingly recreated master copies of two drawings by Jean-Auguste Dominique Angle of the same name. Their faces were never swapped, and Gillier merely altered them slightly. Gillier has years of experience in art restoration and has used that knowledge in her practice as a contemporary artist. The term, quote, restored in the title of these works acknowledges that skill set, and more importantly, the title humorously critiques the problem in contemporary and historical art around the predominant representation of the male gaze.
Great job, Stephen. And now, this is the last one. Go ahead, Stephen.
Thanks, Frank. You wanna preface it?
Yeah. This was for a group exhibition where we had to write the didactic for another randomly paired up person. So this wasn't my art also. Go ahead, Stephen.
Okay. Casey Bennett's Untitled 2022 3D printed plastic. 12 by 18 inches. This simple bright orange object is made up of rectangles that shoot and undulate to the right, akin to how one may read a poem. It begs the viewer to step closer, and upon closer scrutiny, the texture of a 3D printed as well as melted and burnt plastic becomes present. On the surface rests a language represented exclusively by texture, Braille. Next to it sits a bottle of hand sanitizer, implying that it is meant to be touched. The artist is trying to let the sighted understand what it's like to navigate reading with a different sense. This piece can only be read and understood by those who are visually impaired and can also read Braille. A translation of the text for any other viewer, whether that be auditory or visual, for any other impaired viewer that cannot understand Braille, is not provided. It is meant to be understood that Braille is a language is a secret club for a specific invisible disability.
Thanks, thanks, Stephen. So yeah, those were my didactics, and I'm pretty proud of them. I think I'm a pretty good writer. Stephen, would you like to do the outro?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Remember to like and subscribe. Smash that like button. And we'll see you guys next week.